Well, g'day guys, it's Rusty here at Impact Dynamics, and I'm sitting in between two legends in the shooting community on YouTube.
In our own minds.
These are the 6'5" guys. We've got Steve and Ed here. How are you guys?
Doing fantastic. Thanks,
well.
Rusty.
Wonderful. You've done pretty well. You've got a room to yourself at SHOT Show.
Yep.
And that's pretty impressive. How's the show been for you guys? You've seen plenty?
We have. Probably not as much as in previous years. We decided to do something a little bit different in terms of scheduling interviews, but my feet are barely holding up.
Yeah. How about you, Ed?
Yeah, I mean, it's just been a terrific show, and you know, just having, you know, people come up to us in the aisles and say, hey, you know, we really appreciate what you guys are doing. You know, I'm getting into the sport. I mean, that's just such a confirmation of what we're doing, and
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
we feel like we're making a real contribution.
Excellent. So for those who aren't familiar with what these guys do, can you guys give us maybe a little bit of an introduction? If anyone's watching who hasn't seen your videos, and I mean, surely they've seen your videos, but just in case.
Well, it started in 2013. The first thing we did was we started with the YouTube channel, and kind of by accident. It was really a touch run. People showed an initial interest in some stuff we'd put up on Facebook, and we thought, hey, wouldn't it be cool to go to SHOT Show? And we found out that in order to be qualified as media, you have to have a website. So we quickly put up a website. Just by the skin of our teeth, we actually got our passes to go in, and it all started from there.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, and our focus, I mean, we're deliberately focused. We're focused on long-range precision rifle, or what some people call PRS style shooting. And honestly, I think that makes us an effective venue, because, you know, we're not trying to, you know, be all things to all people, and it seems to be working.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you do a series of reviews and information videos. What did you start with? Was it reviews you kicked off with?
Well, the intent, and it's still the focus, is it's a journal or a log of our journey through precision rifles. So, you know, I don't think we'll ever get there in terms of being, you know, the most accomplished shooters, but we are trying to improve on what we do. We compete, and we chronicle what we do.
Yeah, I mean, Steve brings up a good point, right? So there are lots of folks doing reviews of scopes and widgets and stuff like that, and we don't want to be like a Me Too, okay? I mean, this is a chronicle of our journey of, you know, a couple of middle-aged guys with paper-pushing jobs getting into PRS.
Yep.
And if we can do it, most people can do it. And so we don't present ourselves as experts or the authority, and, you know, we're just sharing, you know, our learnings along the way, and people can take from it what they will.
I think people can really connect with that very easily if they've seen you journey along, and they can sort of join that journey as well. You've found that? Has that happened over those 4 years?
Absolutely. Yeah, in fact, some of the validation, what really makes us feel good is when a lot of new shooters showed up to a match, right? And they say, hey, I'm here because I saw what you were doing and I wanted to actually come out and try it. Or
brilliant.
folks that are getting into it, and, you know, they're consulting with us, hey, you know, I want to get into this, what kind of rifle should I get, that sort of thing.
Right, and you know, even some of the questions, like somebody came up and said, hey, you know, which bipod should I get? Should it swivel and stuff like that? And I said, you know what? I said, you know, you ping us on Messenger. You know, one of us are going to answer. And we will. And, you know, I've spent, you know, time on the phone with somebody trying to, you know, dial in their Dillon 550, right? Now, you know, I would imagine at some point, it's, you know, we've got our day jobs. You know,
that's right.
But now, I mean, we can do that. You know, we can help people out. We're happy to do that.
Yeah, it's wonderful. From what we've seen from where we are, and also within the community in Australia, we just see people helping so much and supporting each other, and we certainly get that vibe from the PRS and that sort of style over here. Has that been pretty true for what you see as well?
It is, yeah. Folks genuinely want to be helpful. They want to see the sport grow. And for the most part, you know, I think the precision rifle community is very helpful. They want to see people grow and develop and learn, and even in a competition, you know, it's not cutthroat. You know, folks, it's friendly competition, right? It's a group of friends getting together and having fun and seeing, you know, who comes out on top.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I see what we're doing is, we're extending that camaraderie that, maybe we see between, competitors to, you have a lot of, vendors, purveyors to the community. And, we're also kind of establishing that win-win, relationship with them. I mean, they see that, we're a good channel, to reach out to that community. And we've got a number of giveaways, right, that are getting a lot of traction, right? And it's a win for them, it's a win for the community, it's a win for us. And so, when everybody wins, that's great.
It's a good thing.
Yes.
Yeah. Right, so did either of you have a background in media or in being in front of the camera, or was this a whole new thing for you?
It's been a whole new thing now. Ed and I, in our day jobs, work as business professionals and have some understanding around branding and strategy, and so we kind of bring that to the table. But in terms of learning audio, video, how to edit video, that sort of thing, that's been new.
Yeah, and to amplify on what Steve mentioned, so in our jobs, our clients, they present us with problems. And we have to take a very data-driven approach, a very objective approach to arrive at an answer.
Yeah,
okay?
brilliant.
Well, this sport is full of problems to be solved, and so we just take that same data-driven, objective approach, and some folks have called it, I like your no BS approach.
Yep.
And again, that seems to have
Seems to work.
resonated, yeah.
Yeah. So what got you into PRS? I mean, obviously, I'm guessing you've been shooting for most of your life, or a reasonable amount of your life. What's your story?
Steve, you want to start with
Steve?
your...
Well, I have been shooting for most of my life, but I started to get into what I call precision rifle probably around 2010. You shoot on the range, just punching paper. After a while, it gets boring, right? Particularly if you have precision rifle, just shooting groups. You want to challenge yourself and do something different. And so I went in search of how do I do that, and found a local group of shooters in the Northwest that would actually go out in the field and hit steel. So from there, it went to these club matches. That's kind of 2013 was when I went to my first match, or maybe it was 2012, and it was just a club match. And from there, PRS was getting started up, and I don't think I actually signed up for PRS to have my points aggregated at a national level until 2014.
Okay, so reasonably only a few years.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, and how has it gone for you?
Good. Well, this year I actually qualified for the finale that's taking place in a couple of weeks. Decided I couldn't go. Basically, like most shooters, we do have budgets and a limited amount of vacation days, and unfortunately, it just didn't work out this time.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
But congratulations on qualifying.
Thank you.
That's a fair effort.
Yeah, and so similar to Steve, been shooting for most of my life, but my first taste of really, I think that the precursor to what we do now was when I was in California around 2007, 2008 timeframe. Shooting my first bolt action, 308, off a bench, and somebody said, "Hey, there's a tactical match." That goes on, and they shoot out to 1,000 yards, and I'm like, whoa, where is this? And so this was with the NorCal club, and so I went out there, and at that time, it was 3 shots on a paper target, but I got hooked, and then I moved up to Washington State in 2008, and I took a bit of a hiatus just because of work responsibilities. But right around 2012, 2013, I was determined to get back to do it. To get back into it. And then, Steve and I met in May of 2013. And, we just started shooting together, and then, things just kind of, went.
And we ended up at SHOT Show with your own private room.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a good journey.
Right. Exactly. And so, as far as, the shooting, I mean, we have a Pacific Northwest finale, and so, I've been in, the top 10, in both years, for like the whole year. And these are just like, just incredible shooters. I think this year I was like, number 6, I think.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
excellent.
I mean, I look at the guys above me and I'm like, I don't even.
They're at the national level.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Yeah.
and so I think for both of us, like I've tried other styles of shooting, like I tried IPSC for a while, And I got in there, and I'm not like the fastest guy, and so it was like I'm just not even marginally competitive.
Yeah.
But based on what I did down in NorCal, and just based on my first few years of shooting here, I realized, wow, I've actually got a bit of a talent
okay.
for it. So now I just need to kind of continue to refine things. So
Absolutely. Do you do any other types of shooting currently, or is it really just focused on one discipline?
I mean, we play a lot. I mean, where I live, I've got a 100-yard range, in my yard, and so I like to play with pistols and carbines and ARs and stuff like that. But my real passion is around precision bolt action rifles and this sport.
And I'm the same as Zed. I mean, I really spend most of my time with precision rifle and practicing. Have fun occasionally. You want to make sure that the guns in your safe get a little bit of use from now.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
Exactly. And but another thing too that people ask us about, besides what you like to shoot, is like training regimens and stuff like that. And so if I'm not actually shooting live rounds, it's just dry firing. I've broken 5 or 6 firing pins, Remington 700 firing pins, just with dry firing, and I think that's probably one of the best things you can
that
do.
means you must be doing it quite a bit, Ed.
Oh yeah. Well, I work from home a lot, and I have to admit
okay.
that during conference calls I put them on mute. It's like,
I hope they're not watching.
I think Steve, you've probably been guilty of reloading during your
No comment.
Refuse to answer that one.
conference calls.
Oh, very good. And do you guys hunt at all? Is that a passion or an interest?
As a youth, I hunted, and actually in adulthood, I've not. Just haven't made the time. I'd love to get back out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Ed and I had talked about, probably going out together at some time and actually videoing that.
Yeah,
Exactly, because it would be new for us, because a lot of folks just assume, you must hunt, right? And it's like, would love to do it, but it's just life.
Yeah, the same problem we have in Australia is time.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
a
Yeah,
challenge
there's not. Well, like Warren Buffett said, he said, I have plenty of money, but what I really worry about is time. And it's like,
You can't buy time.
you can't buy time. Exactly.
What I really like about the precision rifle stuff is we've got a really direct connection with Australia and what we do there, because we can have the bolt action rifles, and bar sort of suppressors, all the equipment is the same, and it's really opened up an excellent connection between the two countries and others as well, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
But it's great to be able to watch your channel and others and see probably 95% of the things you talk about,
Right.
the stuff that we can actually get, which is so rare within the shooting community. We look over at what you guys can play with and go, right, that's been one of the things we tried to, like at this show, being walking past the stuff that we can't even get close
can't
to.
get it,
Yeah.
But there is so much stuff that we've found to look at here that we can get within this sort of, particularly this community.
Right.
It's good. And I imagine you got quite a large following from Australia?
Oh, we do actually in New Zealand. Yeah.
Worldwide.
Yeah.
Obviously most of it comes from the U.S., but a fair amount from Australia, New Zealand, those folks.
Yeah.
So.
Well, we have to get you out for a visit one day.
We'd love that.
Maybe do a bit of a competition and also get you out hunting.
Yeah.
Well, and also related to your question too, I mean, we feel that we're also ambassadors for the sport. And so, I have a lot of friends on social media who, aren't even gun owners.
Yeah.
And so when they see, how we're doing this, and the fact that it's very professional, even though they may not even own a firearm or want to own a firearm, at least they come away realizing, wow, this is a very professional undertaking. And it kind of, erases some of the perceptions, they might have, about, or negative perceptions about firearm ownership. So, and I think you mentioned to us the other day that even in Australia, you have that effect.
With that exactly the same. Yeah, absolutely. And if you can promote it well, and even if people aren't interested in taking it up as a sport, they often respect it for its own thing. I imagine you find that as well.
That's true.
Yeah. How did we arrive? Did you guys start shooting precision rifle with 6.5s? Or was that a progression? How did we arrive at deciding that?
Well, for me, I actually started off with 30-06.
Yeah.
So the story is, you know, I had this hunting rifle, and realized it could only, you know, it grew up a little bit more than 1.5 inches, and folks were saying, well, if you want a really accurate rifle, you need to rebarrel it. So I got a nice Krieger 5R barrel, had that put on, and that thing was a hammer. And then as I started to get into the competition side of things, I still ran it, right? I wasn't going to buy a brand new rifle, but the guys that were really doing well and at the top of the heap in terms of competition were shooting the 6.5s primarily. You'd see a few 6s back then, but 6.5 was kind of king. A lot of 308s. And I was at a serious disadvantage, not only ballistically, but because of that stout recoil.
Yep.
It was a heavy gun, but there was a lot of recoil there. And then you get on positional, and it had a can on it, and you know, I would try to lift that thing up.
Yeah, hard to run
And it
with.
didn't feed all that well. Occasionally, I would have you know, jams and feeding rounds. And eventually, I reached the decision. If I really want to do better, what would be helpful is getting a different platform to shoot from, and something that has some ballistic superiority. And that's how I found Arbro's rifles. You know, decided to go with a custom gunsmith and went with 6.5-47 after consulting with him and finding out what other guys were using.
Yeah. What I love about that, Steve, is that you worked with what you've got for the time being.
Absolutely, and that's
until
what
you
we
get to that
advise all
position.
shooters.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we do see a lot of guys go, right, well, I want to get into it. What do I have to buy? You go, well, whatever you've got, get your scope sorted out and get into it, get shooting.
Absolutely.
And then you can make a great informed decision as to which way to go. What about you, Ed?
Yeah, so I made a series of mistakes that I hope nobody repeats, okay? And specifically is I felt before I could even show up for my first club match, I had to have, you know, the most expensive rifle, the most expensive scope, and of course, because, you know, I really didn't have, you know, a channel like this to help me along, I just remembered, okay, well, back in 2007, 2008, 308 was like the way to go.
Yeah.
So, got that in 308, and then came out there and realized, wow, in just a few years, you know, things had really changed. But again, you know, I you know, shot, you know, the 308. And then at that time, I think you had that 6.5-47 from Arbro's, right?
Yeah, just after you'd been shooting in the matches a few months, I got that.
Exactly. And then I saw that, and then it was like, you know, I'm just going to go that route. And now keep in mind that I'd already spent all this money on this other equipment. So I had to go to the spousal finance unit and say, hey, honey, you know, I just spent an ungodly sum of money on this equipment, and I've just discovered that it's not particularly suited for what we want to do. But I just want to give an incredible shout out to my wife, and she just looked at me and she said, honey, you deserve it. I was like, oh my God. And, you know, it's like, you know, and I think that's the thing too, is, you know, having, you know, just for me, honestly, having a supportive spouse has just been just the most, I couldn't be doing this without, you know, my wife, you know, being as supportive as she is. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
Paige, I love you.
You bring the humanity to shooting. It's great. It's
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, because honestly, I think the shooting sports brings out a lot of emotion.
yeah.
And I think it can be channeled very positively. You know, we've seen that the net. You know, every club, you know, has their politics, and you see some of the ways in which that emotion and passion can be conveyed negatively. But for us, and even on our page at 6.5 Guys Just for Fun. So I believe that there is so much good, positive, emotional energy in the sport.
Yes.
That, I mean, I know this is kind of getting soft and touchy,
It's
but I think that's really what people should embrace, and it's like our motto.
Well, yeah, and I would say, you know, don't put too much pressure on yourselves in
Exactly.
competition, because I know, you know, last year we had attended a lot of matches, not only as individual competitors but as team,
Right.
Shooting as a team, and I think through that journey, you know, we realized we were putting a lot of pressure ourselves on some of these matches. And
Oh, absolutely.
Sometimes you walk away and, you know, you feel down in the dumps because you didn't do as well as you thought you should have.
Yeah.
And I think what we learned from that is, hey, we're there to have fun. As long as we can come away and learn something and reconnect with people and have fun, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, I mean, and that goes back to our motto, life's an adventure, stay on target.
I like it.
And and I'll admit, because we put a lot of pressure on ourselves, and I just I had in June, I just had a catastrophic match. I couldn't hit anything, right? It was like one of those matches where you don't even go to the after match party, you just go in your vehicle.
Ed just said, I'm going home.
I'm just going home, and then I took some time to reflect, and I said, you know what, this is not good. This is not healthy. And then when I got back in to it, I was shooting well again. So it was clearly an aberration. And so it's part of my whole maturation process is not to get butt hurt, because you have one bad match. Yeah. And all along the way, I've been telling people, everybody has a bad match and so forth. But then,
it happens to you.
But then, when I had this horrible match, I was utterly incapable of following my own advice. And that too, that's a learning. That's a learning process. And it's things that you carry, you carry into life. So.
I've had plenty of hunts that have not gone as planned. We certainly can appreciate that. Absolutely.
Yeah, and all of this has been very beneficial because I'm very open with what I do, and even in my work, the type of videos and approach that we're doing, even my place of work wants to adopt that approach for some of our internal and external promotion. So then, it just makes me look like a smart guy. So, I'm pretty excited about that. So just, you just do the right thing and be passionate about it, and good things happen.
Absolutely. Oh, you mentioned shooting lots of matches in the last year. How many matches do you get to over the course of the year?
Well, it depends on time and budget. But typically we go to all of our club matches, which are once a month, and we call that sort of the practice match. It's just guys getting together, and it keeps you kind of sharp on your what I call the fundamentals of this.
Yes.
And then from there is a plethora of matches within the Northwest. And I would say on any given month, there's at least a couple of matches at any time of the year, and even more on certain months. So we can kind of pick and choose. We tend, some national level matches. Those cost more money to kind of get on a plane and fly there. But I can't count them all.
Right.
Right. So I'd probably maybe a couple dozen last year.
You probably shoot
a lot.
Every week or 2 weeks.
Right.
Yeah.
A lot.
Some months more than others.
Yeah.
But let's talk about what we're going to do this year. And again, this is in the category of following your own advice and eating your own dog food, right? So we tell folks, and we've heard from terrific shooters like Scott Satterley, Kevin Ditto, Jake Vibbert, and others that you learn a lot from ROing.
Yes.
And ROs, sometimes it's not the most glamorous thing, right? And matches have difficulties finding ROs. So this year, while we're going to compete in matches, we're also going to be ROing these matches, so that again, we kind of walk the talk. But another thing too is it's going to allow us to bring much better match coverage to our audience, because we found it's extremely difficult to both compete and provide good video from a match. So I think the audience is also going to benefit because it will allow us to kind of get it back into a very popular genre, and that is stage by stage. Analysis and breakdown.
And I think a portion of our audience really enjoys that coverage. They want to see, they really like that because they want to understand, particularly as they're getting into it, like, well, what can I expect? How are stages run? What are the rules? How do I engage this type of a barricade or prop?
Yeah,
right.
So that sort of thing.
Yeah, excellent. Well, gentlemen, I love your outlook on life and shooting. It's great to see that, really bring it back to fun, because at the end of the day, none of us have to be there. We only do it because we want to enjoy it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a hobby. Yeah.
Well, Russ, it's great been meeting you and the team from Impact Dynamics.
Terrific, mate. And enjoy the rest of the show. Good luck with your interviews today, and appreciate your time. Great to meet you both.
Thank you.
Keep up the great work.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Cheers, guys. see now that they've
Okay, so we're at the 0
stopped
point.
just there.
Now we want to just do these back up.
Okay, so we're at the 0 point.
The long
Now we want to just do these back up. Now I'm using the long end of the Allen key.
You could load it short or long, however, whatever your preference was. So this bullet is, we're really excited about it. The initial offerings are the 22 caliber 70 grain, the 6 millimeter 105 grain,
Perfect.
6.5 millimeter 140.